Welcome to Ekam IAS Academy Hyderabad. Today we have couple of important issues at hand to be discussed. And the first and the foremost issue, as we all know, this is making news, no? Why this is making news? Anybody? Why? What is the problem? Why the youth have gone crazy about Agnipath?
Short-term service.
Somebody is saying, we'll just try to make a note. Somebody is saying age limit is a okay. Anything? Anybody else?
Recruitment time.
Sunita, I want you to contribute the maximum. Age limit? The type of recruitment. Okay. They are not very happy with the type of recruitment. Okay. What else? The Agnipath scheme. We are trying to find out why the youth has gone crazy, right? Somebody said the age limit, somebody said the type of recruitment. What else?
Only for 4 years. Only for 4 years after they have to.
Okay, you mean to say the contractual nature of the employment? Yes or no? The contractual nature of the employment. What else?
Percentage of applicants getting into permanent commission.
Okay, the only 25% of them would finally make into the permanent cadre. Okay, what else? What else? Guru?
And the current recruitment process is cancelled.
He is now coming closer. In the last 2 years, there is no recruitment. This you need to understand. We will come to this. We will come back to this. Rather, the entire discussion will hover around here. Yeah. What else? Srinivas. Silence. One. Contribute. Studied the issue? No? Okay. Lavanya.
Physical test and medical test all are conducted, but the written exam was postponed.
Okay, he says that in one of the batches before the onset of COVID, certain aspects related to recruitment were completed, but the final selection is kept pending. It is in abeyance, right? So I will write past recruitment kept in abeyance. See, this class is not intended to find fault with the government, but we will definitely try to see where the government has faulted. Why that element of suspicion came in the youth. That is what we need to target. We need to understand. I always tell you, UPSC, more than what it is in news, why it has become a national issue. It has become a national issue overnight, right? 7th of June, the government announced this scheme. 3-4 days mein it caught up pace, right? As some of you said, these are some of the reasons why there is a problem with the recruitment process. For me, these are the two reasons most important. See, you need to understand certain dimensions when it comes to army in our country. In our country, army is not only seen from employment perspective. The service in the army is not seen only from the employment perspective. It is seen from certain other social perspectives as well. What is the biggest social perspective? This employment is seen. This social perspective that is seen is service to the nation. This one important dimension underlines why more and more number of youth wants to join the service. This Agnipath scheme was introduced as tour of duty. You all are aware?
Yes.
This was the term that the experts were using, tour of duty. But when this word tour came, some of the political and other critics said that army service cannot be tourism based. You try to understand the difference. People said people will not go for tourism to army, but even the army chief very clearly made a statement. It is tour for people, for the young blood who do not want to take army as a career but want to get a feel of it. You try to understand, there is a big difference. Here there are certain percentage of youth who do not want a career in army, but they definitely want to get a feel how the army operates. So for them the wording was tour of duty. It does not mean that you go on tour and come back. No, it is tour for somebody who does not want to continue in that field for longer duration, but definitely wants to get a feel of it. For them, this is very, very important because they are not looking for a career in the army. They are only want to get, see, this type of employment where people are called only for a very short period of time is called conscription. There is a word for it which is called conscription. There are certain countries in the world who have made compulsory military service to their young blood, both male and female, able-bodied, who do not have any physical problems. For them, it has been made compulsory in some countries and voluntary in some countries. Israel is a country where it is compulsory, both for the boys and the girls in a age bracket. The duration of the service, it varies. For the boys it is different, for the girls it is different. For boys I think it is 33 months and for girls around 22 months of service. So that whenever the nation wants their service, the nation can fall back to them. That is the intention of making it compulsory, everybody who is able-bodied. But for other countries it is not compulsory, but it is there. People go for a shorter duration and come back after serving for that required duration. If you are aware of the army perspective, there is a class of officers called Short Service Commission. I am one of the product of the Short Service Commission, wherein I have gone for 10 years of service, 1 year of basic military training, and I have exited after completing my 10 years of training. But the Agnipath scheme that the government has now launched, or what you call has come up with, it is primarily not for officers, it is for the other ranks. It is for the other rank, means soldiers, jawans. It is meant for them in all the three services. When the tour of duty was introduced, it was primarily targeting the officer class. They wanted this to be brought in as an example or as a test bed for recruiting officers for this 3 to 4 years period, and after that you can ask, you give them a choice whether you wish to continue based on your eligibility, whether you are eligible to continue or not. All these dimensions were there. But gradually they shelved the officer class, and when they finally came with Agnipath, they limited only this to PB, or we call it personnel below the officer's rank. So now the scheme is left for them only. The biggest agitation what the people are saying is, see, anything which is done in suspicion, in a way where there is a belief, where there is a element of suspicion, the crowd will come out in outburst. The suspicion which was created here is, in the last 2 years, you did not do any recruitment. I hope you are aware how the army recruitment for the PBR happens. The personnel below officer's rank, the army recruitment primarily happens based on rallies. The recruitment rallies are conducted. Based on these recruitment rallies, the individuals go, participate in that rally, clear physical, medical and other written examination. That is how they get selected. Based on their training and all, that is how the selection happens. In the last 2 years, government did not conduct any rally. So now a vacuum has got created in the last 2 years. See, vacuum has got created. In this backdrop, suddenly government comes up that I am taking out contractual army people. Now what is the message indirectly given to the country, the youth of the country? That maybe in future this will not happen. Maybe. The question is not maybe. Why? Because the government very clearly said this will not be my main, which Agnipath will not be my main recruitment drive. My recruitment drive will continue to be this. But government failed to market it. So in the background of this suspicion, people came to streets and targeted the central government, because railway is a central government property. That is the reason why the railways became a target in our country. Why? Because you gave an element of suspicion to the people. In the backdrop, you did not conduct any interview recruitment in the last 2 years. Whatever you did before 2 years, that also you kept in abeyance. And all these rallies have not been announced for the last 2 years. So an impression came in the minds of the youth, probably in future there may not be any rally and the government may continue with this Agnipath scheme only as the main employment opportunity in the armed forces. So that created the spike in the youth, and who took to streets and also trying to destroy the railway property. In this backdrop, let us now try to understand what was the scheme all about. What was the scheme all about? The first and the foremost important dimension of the scheme, as we all know, this is some of the incidents that have happened. See, at the end of the day, we all must acknowledge that India is still a democratic country. Till such time you do not take everybody on board, any decision that is taken, that is bound to have some kind of reactions in this society. and more so whenever it is the youth who are concerned, that is when more and more reaction can be expected. See, it is, I always ask in my classes, what is the biggest threat to any country? What is the biggest threat to any country? We will call youth only. Unemployed तो ठीक है, unemployed मत बोलो. We call, they are the biggest asset and also the biggest threat to the country. Whenever an enemy tries to create an impulse in any enemy country, the first entity they will target is the youth. You remember the Opium War we spoke about historically? Opium War, what the Britishers did? They identified some youth in the Tibetan, what you call geographical area, gave them free supply of opium, created complete trouble in the Qing dynasty. That is how they targeted the youth. And when you all know, very recently some documents have been made open regarding the independence of India, in which it has come out very clearly that the reason why India got independence in the year 1947 is primarily there is a lot of contribution of the Subhash Chandra Bose Indian National Army, which was again led by the youth, wherein the Winston Churchill very clearly said that I am worried about the INA much more than the presence of Gandhi on the Indian soil. He said that India is getting independence in 1947 not only because of Gandhi but more so because of the youth who have picked up arms under a very strong leader. So that is how these people can bring that change. We will talk about the Agnipath scheme for 5-7 minutes, then we will see why the government has launched this scheme in the first place, right? See, the first of most important is, see, the time period of getting into the army as a personnel below officer's rank generally happen to be this time frame, 16 to 19 years. If you see NDA application also, 16 and a half to 19 and a half, this would be the range. Why? Because this is the range when you can be molded into a personality as per the requirement of the organization. If you cross this particular age, it means that you have been exposed to certain dimensions in the socio-economic, cultural and political aspects of a country. It becomes very difficult to change your mindset after that. So that is the reason why you see people who are ex-NDA in the forces and the people who go through CDS, there is a hell lot of a change in certain dimensions of their personality as army officers. So here you see a completely different army officer and here you will see a completely different army officer. Why? Because this guy has got certain exposures outside world and then joins the army. And here as a child, when he entered his teen, in the mid-teens, he has joined as a cadre in the forces, and for 3.5 years he is given certain dimensional, a targeted training is given to him. So that is how his personality comes out to be a completely different individual. So that is the reason why, whether it is officer or other rank, generally this is the time bracket which the government looks at. And our Agnipath scheme also, if you all are aware, the government said that what was the earlier time frame? They gave from 17 and a half to 21 years. The moment this outburst happened, they increased this by 2 years to 23 years. But this is a knee-jerk reaction of the government. This is primarily a knee-jerk reaction for the government. Why? Because by increasing the 2 years, I told you that 2 years somebody has written an examination waiting for the final result. So to target that kind of people so that they do not feel left around because of the void in the recruitment process, the government has increased this age by 2 years. But did that solve the solution? Did this give the complete solution to the problem? No, it did not give. Why? We'll see it. Okay? See, this scheme is primarily giving opportunity to the young, what you call the Indians, with an intention to give them 4 years of army service as soldiers. And as the scheme said, after 4 years, only 25% of them would be retained and the remaining would be left. And when they would be left, they get some certification. Based on those certification, their employment, further employment, whether in the civil or any other government establishment, would be justified. Now the problem comes here is, when the officers are recruited in the armed forces, there is something known as ACR system, annual credential report system for the officers is there. But there is no such report for PBOR. It is only after you become a Nayak or Nayak and Havaldar, your annual credential report starts getting initiated, because you are taking people at the personnel below the officer's rank. Now the big question mark comes is, in these 4 years, what are your parameters of testing a person whether he is eligible to get that 25% permanent cadre or not. So this is where the government did not come out clean. How they are trying to justify. See, 4 years time frame, you have selected me within 4 years, you cannot say 75% of the lot are ineligible. In 4 years you cannot say. Why? Because based on some merit, based on some physical test, based on some medical test, based on some psychological test, an individual has to go through all these 4 tests when one gets the army job. So you have tested in all these dimensions, and within 4 years you are telling me that I am ineligible. So what are those grounds of ineligibility? The government did not come out clear. The moment you do that, this is where maybe there is a high probability of some mischief in people getting the permanent cadre or not. And one more dimension what the government has spoken about here, where the controversy has come, is this is primarily an all India all class. People who do not have the army background may not understand this. In the armed forces, you have specialized regiments. Specialized regiments like Punjab regiment, you will have Sikhlai regiment, you will have Bihar regiment, you will have Assam regiment, you will have the special Ahir regiment, Rajput regiment. Like this, our armed forces have a historical past of regiments based on caste lines, regiment based on religious lines. It was felt that during the World War I, World War II, and also during various wars that the British Indian soldiers fought in the European plateau, it was felt that a person, if he is belonging to a homogeneous caste community body of troops, his level of fighting magnifies many folds. So he is not only fighting with the country spirit, he is also fighting with the regimental spirit, and he is also fighting with the caste spirit. See, if just imagine, now this is an all India all class composition in the classroom, right? Now say 10 people belonging to one particular caste come to attack this room when we are taking a class, and now you tell me whether their reaction to how to eliminate this class would be better than defending you. You will agree? Why? Because you are completely in commotion, you do not understand the impulses of each other. But in a better regimental feeling and a caste feeling, the ability to fight the enemy is much more improvised, much more stronger than an all India all class. Then this has been proved in the historical past. Say for example, I am a young Assamese soldier, I am a young Assamese citizen preparing myself physically, mentally, academically and psychologically to join the Assam regiment. I have been preparing for last 2-3 years, right? Suddenly the government said all India all class. Now what happens? Just imagine an Assamese guy going and joining the Rajput regiment. Will he not feel out of place? Yes or no? Will he not feel out of place? Now what he will do when he lands in that regiment, he will look for more Assamese people. So within a larger grouping, a smaller grouping has come. So the intention of making this AIAC is good, but it cannot bring a sudden change in the army. This should have happened in a gradual manner. This should have happened in a gradual manner. What happens in the battlefield, this is my personal experience, the country spirit when we are fighting is high. There is no second opinion about it. But more than the country spirit, the regimental spirit is much more higher. Why? Because these two soldiers are from a particular village in Rajputana Rifles. He knows that if I do not fight bravely, this guy will go back to village and talk about my timidity in front of the entire village. You try to get my point. The fear that this guy is there, he is watching me closely, it is applicable to both of them. So that is how they are fighting as a collective unit, because they are answerable to the regiment, they are answerable to their village more than the country answerability. The country answerability is there, but more than the spirit of the country, it is the spirit of the caste, Naam, Namak or Nishan. This is what they talk about, Naam, Namak or Nishan. So they all represent their regimental caste and country colors. So that is why they fight with that spirit. It has been proven time and again in history that a regiment which has a pure regiment, when it went to a battlefield, they have always emerged victorious, because there are multiple reasons that they are fighting for. We have seen this movie, no? Akshay Kumar movie. What is that movie? Akshay Kumar movie, the Afghanistan soldiers. Kesari. You have seen how only 22 of them fought around 10,000 soldiers. Do you think that only came from this spirit? Do you think that only came from this spirit? No, it did not only come from that spirit. It came from spirit of belonging to one warrior class, because there is a rich historical past to be defended. So that is how these dimensions also assume greater importance. And one more thing, what the government is trying to say that, see, marketing is very important. One mistake what the government did was, before launching this Agniveer or Agnipath, whatever it is, they should have announced a couple of rallies first. Probably then the youth would have got confidence that the rallies will not stop. Probably Agnipath would be and over and above the rally recruitment process. In the backdrop of no rallies for the last 2 years, no recruitment process, no notice of the half recruitment process that was done, in this background, if this comes, definitely it will raise this suspicion among the youth. That will result in this kind of violence that we have seen. Now, we will try to understand. Do you want me to cover these dimensions? Kitna tankha thi, this has all been covered in the news very well, right? In the initial first year, they will get 30,000 salary. Then they are trying to say in the second year you will get 33, 36,500, and finally in the fourth year you will start getting 40,000 rupees salary. Out of that, certain amount of money will be given to you, certain other amount of money will go as a pension, PF. The government will also contribute to that, and at the end of the thing, 4 years you will get around 11,71,000 rupees ka some money, which is tax free. This is fact and figure based. Now, going ahead, they also spoke about the disability compensation and the death compensation. As we all know, armed forces, the risk to life as part of the training and employment has a higher risk quotient than compared to any other civilian this thing. So they have given certain death compensation and disability compensation dimensions also, right? Now, firstly, we will try to understand why an internal security matter having an economic implication. We speak about integrated learning, no? Vertical integration of learning. So here in this vertical integration of learning, there is an economic dimension. And what is this economic dimension? The increasing revenue expenditure as a percentage of overall defense expenditure. Revenue expenditure which is recurring in nature, and capital expenditure which is non-recurring in nature. And capital expenditure in defense services is primarily the cost of modernization of the armed forces. So over a period of time, it has been observed that in India, the revenue expenditure, the cost of salary, the cost of pension is much more than the capital expenditure. What is the net effect of this? What is the net effect of this? What is the net effect of this?
Less non-recurring expense.
Less modernization, not adequate attention to modernization. See, you have to understand one dimension as the youth of the country. This is 21st century, right? There was a time when the battles were fought on the borders. Now the battles are fought much behind from the borders. There was a time when I was also soldier. Even today the army teaches this. You go to the battleground, you forming a place, from there you attack a particular post. But with the advent of technology, the requirement of that doing is getting done away day by day. So now you need more and more weaponry than more and more men to fight for your country. So if you have to increase the investment in the weaponry, you will definitely have to reduce the investment in the salary and pension dimension. So that has motivated. See, China, I am not sure whether you are aware, in the 70s and 80s, can anybody guess what was the standing army strength of the Chinese? Wild guess. 43 lakh soldiers was the standing army strength of the Chinese in the 70s when Mao Zedong was there. So he created a huge army whose strength was 43 lakhs. Is it imaginable today? Is it imaginable today? I always tell you, no, when we talk about superpower strength of a country, there are three dimensions: political, economic, and the military strength of a country. And in the military, we spoke about two dimensions. One is the equipment profile of that military. The second is the motivational level of that military. And I told you the motivational level, there is no matching for in India. But when it comes to modernization, that is where India is lagging behind. The reason why this scheme was introduced was because the government wanted to reduce this dimension and increase this dimension. So when this scheme is looked from the country perspective or the nation perspective, this looks very good and it is the need of the hour. We need to reduce the, see, the problem with our country is we are more emotional than practical. See, now tell me, is army the recruitment machine of the or the employment generating machine of the country? Is it? No, right? You have the manufacturing sector, you have the services sector, they are supposed to play the role of employment generator for the country. If your army becomes a generator of employment in the country, what will happen? The burden of revenue expenditure increases. So that's what the country is trying to tell. Army is not the recruitment machine of the country. It is the defending machine of the country, and with the least number of people possible and with the best of the equipment possible, I want to defend my country. If you remember 2014 when Modi came to power, he made one statement: a lean and modernized army. In this particular entire exercise, I have learnt one thing. I also was taken aback when I came to know that the average age in the army today is 32. If you ask me, with my personal experience, it is not a good sign. It is a very bad sign. If you talk about the border management N. Subramaniam committee after the Kargil conflict happened, in that also Subramaniam committee told it is high time that India has to reduce its manpower in the army and go for more and more modernization. So whatever the Agnipath scheme is there, it is not an overnight thought of the army. This is what the experts have been suggesting the country to adopt in future times to come. He is the same committee, N. Subramaniam committee, who recommended for the appointment of your famous CDS, Chief of Defence Staff. This is the same committee. So the same committee also spoke about the need for modernization of the army, and the modernization will only happen when this component. See, is anybody stopping our country from, say for example, the defence expenditure annual is 3 lakhs. Is anybody heavenly from outside coming and stopping to making it 6 lakhs crore per annum? Is anybody stopping? No. But if I do that, what is the repercussion?
Other things will be.
What is the repercussion? One, the developmental angle of the country will get affected. What is the second repercussion? Most importantly, is it not an aggressive defense posture? Or yes or no? Is it not an aggressive defense posture? As a country, are we aggressive in our defense posture?
No.
I told you, no. So if within these limits I have to work, I have to find ways out. And the best way I found is to reduce the salary and the what you call revenue expenditure of the dimension of the government. I introduced this scheme. The problem happened, the way it was introduced was not sounding very confident to the masses. So the need here is the political dimension. The polity dimension here is consultative. Come on, talk. Consultative legislative process. You talk about what you call cooperative federalism, no? So that consultation dimension is missing in the same happened with the farm laws. Excellently drafted laws, but execution was suspicious. Why? Because the government introduced it with a presidential order. What was the need? The moment you do that without consulting with the state government, an element of suspicion develops. The moment element of suspicion develops, people will not accept it so wholeheartedly. Okay? So this is one important decision. See, the figures are very clear. The total revenue component allocated this year is 3.65 lakh crores for the army, and out of which the pension accounts for 1.2 lakh crores annually. This is the amount of money the government is spending on the pensions and salaries. And if you see the expenditure of the country at large, not only defense expenditure, overall expenditure. In the economic survey classes we keep discussing, the revenue expenditure is much more higher than the capital expenditure, because if the capital expenditure is more, it is good, it is a sign of growth, but revenue expenditure is not a sign of growth. So that is at a higher level and it is at a lower level. So both the dimensions we need to work out. Similarly, the salary paid to the forces has also been increasing over the years. This year the government has allocated 1.07 lakh crores in the army's pay and allowances. So just imagine, out of 3.65 lakh crores, pension 1.2 and salary 1.07. So that is denting the economy of the country. With that perspective, the government came up with this particular scheme. Advantages, very very important. Young army, here the Subramaniam committee report should come, and it has, see, it is felt that if the army, the fighting strength of the army, if it averages this age, it is best suited to fight any eventuality. If you start going here more, the experience dimension will come, but the fighting spirit will get reduced. If you go more here, the fighting spirit will be more, but which will not be without head, it will be without head. The application of mind will suffer here. So that is why the critics across the globe feel that anywhere if the army's majority of the strength of the army or the average age profile of the army anywhere between 23, 24 to 26 is the most acceptable. Okay? So but as I told you, we are very very important. This is not desirable. This will ensure a youthful and tech savvy profile. Now this word has also created lot of problem. Why there are more protests in Bihar? Why there are more protests in Odisha? Why there are more protests in Kolkata? Because somewhere the Agnipath or the Agnivir scheme is talking more and more about tech savviness of the soldiers. Because, and one more thing we all should not forget, that it is the rural India which is the feeder for the army. It is always the rural folks who join in large numbers in comparison to the urban folks in the armed forces, and the possibility of them being tech savvy is not that very strong. So this one dimension also opens up for discussion. This will automatically bring down the age profile by 4 to 5 years. Again, the process of selection, we have spoken about the all India all class scheme of the government, and specialized, though the government said specialized rallies and campus interviews will also happen, but somehow the government could not market this. That is where the problem came. And they said that the medical eligibility and the rigorous training will happen. The best among the Agniveers, up to 25% in each batch, will be selected for regular cadre to serve for another 15 years. Very very important word, another 15 years. It means that, see, today if you are a Jawan in the army, 15 years is the time period you need to serve to get full pension, right? But now another 15 years, it means that the 4 years of your service will not be counted for pension. Means you have to serve a minimum of 19 years to get that full pension. So there are small problems, you seeing it? Okay? Now in all 46,000 Agniveers will be recruited this year. Around 46,000 when it comes to the army recruitment is not a very big number. Let me tell you, lot of big numbers recruitment happens. See, one thing that has come out very beautifully in this is, it says that if one Agniveer is what you call employed in place of a regular army soldier, against that one Sepoy, the government will save 11.5 crores against one soldier employed. And if 1,000 of them are employed like this, the government saved how much? 11,000 crores. And if 46,000 are employed, what is the amount of saving? Just imagine. So that is where the government was targeting. But as we are all emotionally driven, that is where the problem lies. Okay? Very very important. Yeah. Can anybody talk about this? The contractual nature of the scheme. What is the problem here? one dimension of problem, the contractual nature of the scheme.
Security.
Yeah, very very important. See, if you are from a rural belt, you will understand this dimension. Even if you have one sepoy from a family of say 6 to 8 people, even if you have one sepoy from a family of 6 to 8 people, mother, father, or maybe a younger brother or a younger sister, wife and 2 kids. If I take this as the calculation, 6 to 8 people survive on the salary of one sepoy. One sepoy's salary, 6 to 8 people survive even today in India. And if you tell that your employment is contractual only for a period of 4 years, what happened to the social protection dimension? Why the people will send people to the army when they know that after 4 years you have to come back? And one more dimension the critics are saying is that when you know that after 4 years whether you are retained or not, will I risk my life in protecting my motherland or not? That dimension also opens up. So these kind of social benefits, the social protection schemes, that is why they are very very important when you come to talk about these dimensions. See, it is not that he is working for your salary. He is definitely ready to do the supreme sacrifice, but there is an underlying condition: what happens to his family after he leaves fighting for the motherland? So that question always looms large. Now, if you talk about the compensation, if you talk about the disability pension, that may not suffice the cost of life. So that is where the people are angry about this particular scheme. So this is all about the Agniveer that we have discussed till now. Okay? We'll go to the next. Anybody wants to ask anything? Wait, anybody wants to ask anything about this scheme?
MLAs and people will also get pension. So how much it will be?
वो political topic है यार, छोड़ दे. MLA MPs getting pension. See, at the end of the day, they are the masters of this country. Let them take pension. We are not bothered about it. Let them take pension, but give to the people who deserve it much more than me. ठीक? Yeah. Like I have served for 11 years. Nobody gave me any pension. I am happy about it. Yeah. Yeah. Sai, anybody? Any question?
So after serving for 4 years, they might get to know about Indian Army and all. They might leak the information like.
See, at the PBR level, see, her question is very good. She says that now somebody, a personnel personnel below the officer's rank have served for 4 years, and she says that he may leak the army information to somebody. See, in army, the flow of information से ज़्यादा, better word I'll use, the flow of intelligence is need to know basis. Believe you me, in 4 years of a service of a soldier, he will not have any information with him that can be useful for the enemy, and that too this rank. If it is short service officer, I can still say okay, some possibility. Again, depends in those 4 years where he is deployed in a very critical position or otherwise. So based on that, some problem might occur. And the army is also very intelligent. They will not give you critical postings before you take the permanent commission, because they know this problem might occur. So that is how. And on top of it, if he is another rank, may not be. At max, he may leak out the strength of a battalion. Pakistan knows much better than him the strength of the battalion. At max, he can say, okay, there is an exercise maybe next month we are conducting, only that information. With the satellite imagery, when the exercise actually happens, he will automatically come to know. So that's how the nature of war has unfolded in the last 10, 12 years, 20 years if I make it more wider. Okay? So there is no much problem of any intelligence failure. But one more dimension here that you need to understand is, see, the 4 years clause, in this 4 years, 6 months training mein chala gaya. Yes or no? Say if somebody goes to say Air Force, in a technical wing somebody gets selected, right? 6 months of training, this is basic training, we call it basic military training, BMT, and after this he goes to the particular unit or a fleet anywhere. another 6 to 8 months of training on that equipment? Yes or no? So now what has happened? Around 1 to 1.5 year is lost in the training and other dimensions. And as per the leave profile of the army, another 6 months you can delete easily for leave and other things. So only 2 years of employment. Now imagine I am a Agniveer, I got posted to infantry, army, infantry, I got Rajputana Rifles as my regiment, right? I got Rajputana Rifles. 6 months of basic training happened, after that I got Rajputana, I went there, they gave me some training in the regimental spirits and other things, 6 to 8 months, dekhte 2 years completed. Now tell me, I have only 2 years left to serve the country, will they take me part of the major offensive operations of the unit? So indirectly you are creating a class divide in the forces. That is how the Short Service Commission may not be that successful in the PBOR rank. That is what some critics are saying. This is my personal opinion also. Why? Because it will always, अरे तू तो time pass के लिए आया है. He will be ridiculed at every, and army में if you give a small opportunity also to ridicule, they will not leave you. So if that is the dimension of the basic, pulse of the armed forces, if you create this kind of class divide, that individual will struggle to exist there or struggle to function in that dimension. And in that, say if you have sent 10 people, you only said only 25% will stay back, rest all will go, assuming only 3 will stay back. Now what happens to that 7? In this 10, first day मालूम पड़ जाएगा कौन 3 रहने वाला है. Maybe some physical strength, maybe some technical know-how superior than them, right? So this first day say these 7 people, they know that I am not going to get a permanent commission here. Will he be giving 100% of him? So who lost? Who lost? The country. You have to, the way out. If somebody asked me the way out, this is not the way out what the government has done. The way out would be, if you have said the infantry battalion strength would be say 1100 soldiers, if this is what the government has decided, and based on that recruitment will happen, I say target this, reduce this. If you reduce this based on the change in the equipment profile, modernization, if this can come down anywhere to 800 or even 750 to 800, automatically your army will become more and more leaner. Automatically your army will become more and more leaner. The moment it becomes leaner, automatically the cost of maintaining that army will come down. So these kind of changes, they are very long term perspective. This will not happen overnight. It will take 15 to 20 years. You have to bear the cost of that. You cannot say no. Suddenly you cannot say no. See, whenever anything related to farmers, whenever anything related to the army, if you try to take a sudden change, which is, see, the army, there is a natural resistance to change. This you need to understand. There is a natural resistance to small change also. In that background, if you bring a big change, will the world agree? Will the country agree? They will not agree. So this is a better way out over a period of time, so that people don't come to know कि ऐसा कुछ हुआ है करके. You go for rallies every year. Instead of recruiting 10,000, recruit 8,000. Then go for some. What's happening in UPSC? What's happening in UPSC? Did anybody question why only 685? Tell me, is there any dearth of vacancies? More than 2,000 IPS officers are, what you call shortage is there. Did anybody open their mouth? When the vacancy was 685, did you come to the street to fight? Why you didn't come? Because you do not know. You do not know what is the criteria of coming to that golden figure. Why it is 1000 plus sometimes, why it is hardly 600, 700 sometimes, why it is hardly 500 also at times. Did you question your Telangana government was not taking out any recruitment for the past 6-8 years? No. So that is how intelligently you will have to do. not outrightly the way the government has tried to do. It will definitely has to face the public outburst. You cannot stop it. Okay? Yeah. Anybody else? Nothing?
Even in armed forces officer cadre, it's the same also.
Come again.
Number of vacancies are very less.
Where?
There's an officer shortage in army.
It is there. That's what I am saying. In an infantry unit, generally the authorization of the army officers in a particular battalion would be more than 30 plus authorization. But on ground you will hardly find 5-6. They are managing the show. They are managing the show. They are managing the show by doing more and more job. You ask an army officer, you interview somebody who is serving, he does not have any personal time. Because of लगा पड़ा है सुबह से रात में, because there is no people, enough number of cadre to support him. But the work is being done. The same way, the OR strength also needs to be rationalized over a period of time. You cannot outrightly say कि इसको हम करें. ठीक है?